Lauren, welcome to the Rain or Shine podcast. I'm so excited to chat to another marketer.
I
And it's actually really funny how we met because we both opted into this matchmaking session with another community that we both pay to be part of for B2B marketers. And I got randomly matched up with you. So we jumped on a Zoom call. I think that was like last spring potentially. And we chatted, realized that we lived within an hour of each other. And we have since actually gotten to attend events together. You came to one of the Wave events, and our paths have just continued to cross. So I'm excited to sit down and get to know you even better today. So thanks for being here.
Me too. Thanks for having me. I know it's so funny. Anyone that asks me, or if I were talking about you, I'm like, yeah, I met her through a US community. And then we were like, where do you live? Where do you live? Oh, you know all the same people? Okay.
100%. I know we have so many mutual connections. And honestly, that's the value for me in joining masterminds and joining online communities. Because even if you just meet one person, and normally you're going to meet like 10 or 20, but it's like one connection can truly ripple into so much more. So the investment is always worth it.
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
Okay, let's get started with some rapid fire questions. I love to just crack my guests open and just have some fun to kick things off. So, I know that your life has many moving parts. You're busy, you're a mama, you have a husband who travels. What is your favorite way to wind down after a really busy week?
Oh, if I can, honestly, that's even an option because I never do it elsewhere, is literally like order pizza, have a glass of wine on a couch, and watch like a movie with the family or something because there's just always so many like moving parts, so many noises. Like if I can just sit down and not think for 5 seconds, that's the best.
Oh, and it's sometimes like the simple routines that are the most nourishing. It's like I don't want to like go out and have a big night out with friends. I want to be on my couch with a movie and my
Yeah.
kids. Like,
Yeah.
the older I get, the more I'm like, yeah, it really is the little things for me. It's nothing glamorous. I am curious, what is one thing you do every single day that is non-negotiable? Maybe it's for your health, your wellness, your sanity, but what is one thing that you're really good about prioritizing?
This has not been true my whole life, but I would say over the last year or so, it has been moving my body, whether it's going to the gym. I have a personal trainer that I never would have done before, but now it really is non-negotiable. And if I can't get anywhere, it's like my husband and I will drop the kids and go for a walk.
Hmm.
And I really started to realize that that is how I manage stress the best is through getting it out that way. So that's got to happen.
I love it. And I feel like there's probably a bigger lesson to extract here. So I'm curious to ask you, why did you decide to invest in a personal trainer? Why was that important to you?
I did that. So it's not a super long story, but we were in New Zealand for 4 months and I was 39. And we were coming back in March and I was going to be turning 40 in May. And I had time to spend thinking about myself and what I wanted. And I was just like, my health is so important to me. But I was always kind of all over the place with, working out and taking care of myself. So I was like, I want to go into 40 strong and maintain that and be able to be strong as I get older. That was the biggest thing around it because there's all these, you lose muscle mass and all of these things. And I want to be able to run around with my kids and my grandkids and all that. So that's the main driver for that.
Mm. I love it. And I think it's a good lesson as it relates to so many areas of life, but especially entrepreneurship. It's like if something is important to you and you want to value it even more moving forward, why not invest in making it easy? Invest in a system whereby you're not waking up each day going, what workout do I want to go sign up for? Do I want to go to the yoga class or the CrossFit studio? It's like, no, I'm just going to hire the trainer because then I'll show up at the gym 3 times a week, pay this person, and then you don't have to carry the mental burden of it anymore. And I think that's truly a lesson in like putting resources behind something that is a priority. Because if we don't, sometimes we just can't figure it out on our own, or we can't like carve out the time, or it's harder and it's too much of a mental burden that we get exhausted even just thinking about it each week.
100%. I fully realize I'm a class person or
Yeah.
someone I need to meet someone there.
100%.
Yeah, just having someone you kind of take hold that burden for me where it's just like, okay, it's in my calendar. I just have to show up. And I even the other day was going to be chaotic morning, every late for everything. And I messaged my trainer and I was like, I'm going to be 15 minutes late for my hour
Yep.
workout. And she's like, if you want to switch to another day, go for it. And I was like, no, because I won't do it. No, I won't do
Totally.
anything now. So, but yeah, having that support like anywhere in, yeah, like you said, like in entrepreneurship. And I've
Yeah.
noticed so much, my business is only 2 years old, that like getting support in the right spots is so important.
hmm Yeah, and so great too that it's like it's not an all or nothing mentality. 45 minutes is better than 0 minutes. This is
Yeah.
not like I have to be there on time because life is hectic. It's going to throw you curveballs. So yeah, I feel like there's just so much to unpack there, which is kind of cool. Okay, so you mentioned you've been running your business a couple of years. Before that, you helped to scale companies with millions of revenue. So I feel like we'd love to hear a bit of the backstory. Like, how did you eventually make the leap from corporate to launching Murdoch Marketing? Um, Bridge us. How did this transition happen? Did you always know you wanted to launch your own thing?
Yeah, I think that in the back of my mind, I always knew because I did always have that. I mean, I was there for 15 years, so it's a good amount of time, but I feel like maybe especially going into my 30s, I always had that pull, but didn't do anything about it. I think I was terrified to do anything about it, and didn't really know anyone kind of in this world either to be like, what do you like? How is it? Um, so my company was actually acquired by a US company while I was on mat leave with my son. So I came back to a very different job, very different like culture and atmosphere. Stuck it out for 8 months, but I think long story short, it just turned into a not so great situation where I was like working crazy hours. I think every night I would wake up from 1 to 3, like in a panic attack, because there was just no way that I'd come to terms with there was no way I could actually get over the other side in terms like there was no way I could catch up.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know what to do here. So tried to figure it out, tried to talk to people anyway. Talked to my husband about, figuring out quitting. And he was just like, the state that I was in, he's like, you need to quit tomorrow. And I was like,
Wow.
oh, okay. Like, didn't realize it was, I think I did realize it was that bad because after I said it was like cancer causing stress, which I never
Yep.
felt before. Entrepreneurship is extremely stressful too, but in a different way.
Yeah.
But anyways, I left. I took some time to just settle again, and then I started interviewing again by December of that year. And then in January, I was like at the end of some interviews, like, and I started having that feeling again of like panic and stuff. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. Had another conversation with my husband, and he's like, so just don't do the interview. Like, what are you freaking out about? And I was like, I think it's because I don't want to do this at all, which was way scarier to me than actually quitting,
Yeah.
because then it was like making this decision to fully change my life. So I didn't do the interview and I spent a good like 5, 6 months and was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I actually don't know. I was obviously in marketing, but I was like, I don't know. I love marketing. I love travel. Like, love planning it, love everything about it. So I was like, I don't know, maybe I want to do a little bit of both. I was like, I'm just going to spend time saying yes to pretty much everything and see where it takes me. Um, so I worked with a few people on small projects, and then someone introduced me to this woman who does service trips. And so I ended up helping her, literally like jumped on a call with her within 45 minutes. We had decided I was going to help her plan this trip to Ecuador that was
Cool.
happening in April. And I think I talked to her in February. So it's like, to my husband, I'm like, I'm doing this. I don't know. So all these things were happening. And then while that was happening, this conversation between my husband and I started coming up about going to New Zealand. We were doing this, planning this reno, and we're like, hey, wouldn't it be fun to like live in Italy or something while we're doing a reno? Joking. And then our rental got moved to the winter. And then he goes, it'd be really nice. It's really nice during our winter in New Zealand. And we had gone there for our honeymoon. Uh,
Cool.
and we're like, we need to come back here with our kids sometime. And anyway, somewhere along the way, we weren't joking anymore. And we started figuring out. So it wasn't this like 5-year plan that we had or anything, but within 6 months had figured out how to get, especially with my situation, not being in corporate and everything, had figured out how to get us to New Zealand um, for 4 months. So it's just like me transitioning. It's complete mess. Don't know what I'm doing, where I'm going, what I actually want to do. Um, and just taking little marketing jobs along the way. And then we got back from New Zealand in March of 2024, I think. And then I kind of just started working and offering fractional marketing services. Um, and I didn't fall into it because I was kind of mentally preparing for it the whole time, but in a way, it all like the timing of everything was crazy and it just started happening when I got back. So it was amazing.
So crazy. Well, first of all, I love that you had this season of saying yes to everything, right? I think there's like this other side of the story where you can be a seasoned, person in corporate and you've had 10 years of experience in marketing or whatever. So there could be a tendency to just be picky, be like, I'm starting my own business, but I'm just like, I'm too busy. I've got boundaries up. I can only speak with this client. But you kind of did the opposite from what I gather is like a season of yes, like, yeah, I'll help you. Yeah, I'll jump on the phone with you. Yeah, let's consider travel. And I actually think that those seasons can be the most opportunistic when we just drop all of our preconceived notions, take off all the masks, and be like, I'm just going to say yes to everything because I truly don't know where my next opportunity is. And that's probably going to help me find clarity. So it's like, why not go into a season like that? Because it doesn't always happen. So yeah, I just think that's super, super cool.
Yeah, and I do like I could have done that, but I didn't know. Like, if someone knows that that's what they want to do for sure, great. But I
Yeah,
was just like, let's just take a beat here because I don't know if I want to keep doing this.
yeah.
Yeah, that helped huge to just take time to myself and my family, and honestly, just take the opportunity to like be with my family. That entire year and a half, like, completely shifted the way I think about everything.
In
So
what ways? Because, yeah, like you have come on the other side of that in the sense that you took the 4-month sabbatical to New Zealand. You and your husband and your kids rearranged your life to make something happen that a lot of people would say, well, the kids are in school. Well, I work full time. Well, I'm in a season of transition. It's not the right time.
yeah.
Looking back, if somebody's going through that process of being like, should we do the 4-month trip to New Zealand? What would you say to them based on what you have learned from going through that?
I would say our kids were 2 and 5 at the time. So
Wow.
like this, oh, the kids are grown up, let's go do this. But in a sense, honestly, looking back on videos and stuff, we're like, how did we do that with our 2-year-old? Um, but I think just in a way, it's never a good time. You will always find reasons to not do something. It's At the time it felt scary, but I think we're both also people that are like change, like taking a bit of a risk. But at the time, 4 months seemed like eternity. And
Yeah. It's
it goes
not.
by so fast. It was like I saw a friend a couple weeks ago and we hadn't seen each other since January. I'm like, that's the amount of time I was in New Zealand. Like,
Yep.
it goes by fast and it is the best adventure. Like, I truly believe my kids have a better relationship because of it. They're just like each other's best friends. They're still brother and sister in fight, but
Yep.
yeah, we didn't have this perfect path to it either. We kind of saw this potential opportunity and we're like, how do we make this happen? My husband obviously had to look into things, but I think it's like if you have a spark about something, then dig into that further. Like he did that and he ended up finding out that they have this work from heart program, that they have if you've been there for 7 years, you can go on sabbatical. And he
Wow.
literally had just hit 7 years. And like all these things. So we were like, hey, if we go at the end of the year into the beginning of the year, we can use vacation.
Yep.
Um, we rented out our house for 4 months. We were leasing a car and handed it back in early. Like there's so many
Yeah.
things you can do. It's not like we had this big bank account to help us get through this. We dug into it and figured out how we could do it. And yeah, I think it can feel scary, but those are the best things. Those are the
Yeah.
best things in life, right? Like to this, not that it's been that long, but we're still like, let's go back. Like we
Oh my
just,
gosh.
it's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, that is very inspiring to hear because you're right. There will never be a perfect time. You just have to like consciously kind of rearrange things and look for those little, blessings of being like, okay, we can get rid of this, push this aside, rent the house out, and trust that if it's a like a goal or a desire on your heart, that like you're chasing it for a reason. So when you came back, you officially kind of opened doors of your business. Was there hesitation, fear, or you kind of said you didn't really have an exact plan per se? You were feeling unclear going into New Zealand. What happened once you got back? How did you get your first few clients?
Yeah, it was definitely scary to me. I feel like I was ready to do it, but even just not being in this world and then sending out a proposal, you're like, how do I send out a proposal? What does that
Yeah,
look like? How do I send an invoice? Like you're answering so many of those little questions at the beginning that you're like, I do not know what I'm doing. And
yeah,
I think that in some way fed into me really at the beginning of being an entrepreneur, walking into events and stuff, putting myself at like newbie level. And I think that's one thing that I would say to people like, don't take away from the experience you have because I totally did that. And it was like,
yeah,
I, I just like took all of that away and I was really nervous and like didn't really share with people like what I had done with my career because I was like, I'm new, I'm here to learn, which you are certain things, but you also have a ton of experience doing things.
yeah.
Um, so when I said timing, that's where I was super, super lucky. Like I had been working with people here and there on different projects, and I got back. And someone I went to high school with, who we would run into each other every once in a while. Um, he started a business like 7 or 8 years ago and then became a customer of the company I worked for.
Ah,
So we chatted quickly about like a quick lunch about things that they could do for marketing like 8 years ago. And then we got back from New Zealand, and within less than a week, I ran into him at a golf simulator.
oh my gosh.
So random. It was my dad's birthday, and it's just like normally it would be like the guys would go and then this time all the girls went, and he's just like, "Hey, Lauren." And from there, it was um like, hey, are you still working there? And just like this conversation that over a couple months turned into my first fractional client.
Wow.
Um, so that was a very, I don't know, it was just like meant to happen in my world. Like we're back less than a week and that happened. So I think that's an example of um I was lucky enough to run into him.
Yeah.
But for other people that might be in the same boat, like let people know what you're doing. Post on LinkedIn, post on Instagram, tell your family and friends. Like you never know who knows someone or if the person you're talking to needs that help. Like I think that's a big lesson there is people don't know what you do and they might want your help, but they don't even know it. Or they don't know what to ask for, whatever that looks like. So I think at the beginning, as much as you can, and I'm someone who's very like, I want everything in the right place. And I think entrepreneurship like helped me with that too. Like, it's just gonna be messy, okay?
Yep.
Um, that you will figure it out as you go. I
Hmm.
had, I'm in marketing and I have had, I literally just launched my website like 2 weeks ago. I had page up there, but I've never actually had a full-on website. So you don't necessarily need a website. I think it's very nice having a website, and I feel much better in terms of where I'm going. And I'm, uh, like targeting a new audience and stuff like that. And that's going to be a huge tool for me.
Yep.
But just, you don't need it to start.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's funny because I do think there is this like misnomer that even for marketers who are starting a business that like we have to have everything all together, but it's actually just a good reminder that in marketing, you don't have to do it all, right? Like you don't have to have the
Yeah.
website, the social media, the networking strategy, paid Google ads, paid Meta ads, organic threat, like whatever. It's like you just have to choose a few different avenues, and sometimes the best way to start is exactly like you said, tell people, because
Mhm.
business development is often a human to human strategy, right?
Yeah.
And even things like getting out to the golf simulator. I always say that like your business will not be built by isolating yourself in your office. Like if you're just head down, you start the business and you're just on your computer 8 hours a day, you're not really taking advantage of the opportunities that are literally right outside of your front door, which is going to talk to people who need your services, um, like random run-ins, which I actually think is kind of, it's not a strategy, but these things have happened to me so many times too. Like I was at our local bookstore the other day and I just got chatting with the owner, and then all of a sudden we're planning an event for people to come out to for December. And it's like those opportunities only come when you put yourself out into the world.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to be reminded of these stories that we can be calculated people, we can be strategic in many ways, but there's also this other side of business, which is like open to serendipitous moments and just receiving what the world wants to give you that day, which is a very soft skill, but it's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, I love that. I think you posted something about like going into the coffee shop to get your coffee or something. I'm like,
Yep.
that's so true. Yeah, I think if anything for me, it was getting out to other events, meeting people, and I'm not like the loudest person in the room. I'm not an extrovert, like I'm all those other things, right? So it might sound um scary to people, especially if you're starting out. But honestly, that is like the best way. And if you are better one-on-one, reach out to someone that you follow and is local or something and say, hey, can I grab you a coffee? I think just making those connections and not, I, I will literally say to people, oh yeah, don't look at my Instagram.
Yeah.
Like do as I say, not as I do. Like I need marketing help.
Yep.
Um, like, but that's how people are going to connect with you is
Yeah.
you can only do so much online and everything.
Yeah.
I can, and just getting out and meeting people in those situations is so good for your business.
From what I gather, you have been really good about getting out to events. You've been good at joining micro communities and setting up coffee chats. Can you just kind of like run us through why is that a priority in your business growth strategy? Is it more like you get inspired at these events? Is it that you see the value in like meeting new people every single month and that's like a strategic operating decision for your marketing? Why
Mhm.
do I see you out and about and clearly prioritizing getting into rooms?
I think for me, I think there's some people, everyone operates differently. I think there's some people who could just, like bulldoze their way into entrepreneurship and
Yeah.
do their own thing and not necessarily care about a community. And I guess I'm just not like that. I think I like to be surrounded by people. I like joke that I'm an extroverted introvert. I'm like all these things that I'm just tired all the time because I get FOMO. I'm an introvert. But there is, and I think at the beginning too, so it's a few things like not feeling so lonely in entrepreneurship because it can feel extremely lonely. Like
Yep.
I used to share an office with my husband. I'm sitting right next to someone, but someone who doesn't know the ins and outs of what I'm doing necessarily, and it can feel very lonely. So to have friendships in that space where you can talk about those things and get advice from people.
Yep.
Also understanding how other people run their business, especially at the beginning when I was like, what am I doing?
Yep.
Um, and then depending on who your audience is, maybe that room is full of people who are potential clients and building relation, like not going in and pitching yourself, but building relationships with people and having them understand what you do and getting your name out there.
Yep.
Um, and then, yeah, I feel like I started doing my own events and workshops. That was more for, especially like a marketing planning workshop, is more for like, hey, I need to show my expertise here.
Yep.
I'm not the best on Instagram. I am working on that, but and I think especially going from these like $50 million corporate companies down to, okay, who am I trying to work with? How can I bridge that and help these people?
Yeah.
Um, so I co-hosted a workshop at the end of last year for 2026 marketing planning to honestly for myself be like, can I do this? And I scaled everything down to what entrepreneurs and small business owners could use. And then I was also like, oh, I could use this myself.
Oh yeah.
And oh, I could use these as like all the templates for my business. So just like all that it was I think there's also like, you can decide to plan something for fun or attend something for fun maybe. Um, but yeah, there's always this building a community and then something might be like a lead gen event. So it's
Yeah.
kind of all those things.
Yeah, I love what you said about the fact that you don't feel that strong on Instagram, and probably because it's not your platform of choice because you don't want to be like short form, succinct, and showing up every day. But it's like finding the alternative of what can I do that demonstrates my expertise. And for you, that was a workshop. And it's like, I think we always, a lot of my clients, especially, like they'll say, oh, I have to be on Instagram. I have to do this. And I always think there is a way that we can find that gets you visible, that is still in alignment with how you like to teach, how
Mhm.
you deliver the best experience. So, whether that is short form video on the internet to the entire world or like a boots on the ground, rent out a coffee shop, host 20 people for a marketing workshop, it's like those are equally beneficial. And it's just about finding the right strategy and realizing that you don't have to do it all. And I think it sounds like that was kind of your first opportunity to demonstrate your authority in the marketing space because
Yeah.
it's like we can go to all the events we want, but it's also important, I think, to put ourselves out there in that way of let me teach you how to do the thing that I do behind the scenes all day, every day. So, do you have any reflections from like, and I know you're co-hosting a few other things coming up. Why do you continue to put yourself in that vulnerable position of hosting
Oh
experiences,
my
workshops? Because it's scary, it's a lot of work, it's all
God.
consuming.
It's a lot of work and like the ROI on it is not the thing.
No.
Um, but on especially with the workshop because there was so much work that went into that.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times we were like, why are we doing
Why are we
this?
doing
And and with that too, it was like a full day in front of a group of people teaching, and I have never done that before. I
Wow.
managed like business development teams, marketing teams, hosted meetings, hosted an event, but it was a panel. And I'm like, I've never got up in front of everyone and taught what I know. So, and especially with it being, like trying to scale it down and not have this perfect balance of like it not being too much and not being too overwhelming and but then also being enough. And that was stressful. Not to deter people from doing this, but
Totally.
um part of it, a big part of it for me is personal growth.
Yeah.
Um, because I always want to be growing. Like till the day I die, I would love to think that I am open-minded and want to learn more. And doing those things challenges me. May not challenge everybody, but doing those things challenge me. I love planning events too.
Yeah.
But yeah, the workshop one definitely to showcase my expertise in a way that feels more, although I'm like nervous doing it, feels more natural to me than like posting something on Instagram, which there's nothing wrong with that. I need to get better at that because that's, like where my target audience is now. So I need to, that's part of my planning that I'm going to be adding into that. Um, but yeah, those are the biggest things. And then
Yeah.
I think just like co-hosting really helps me to stay sane through it. You get like someone else's expertise added into there, which is nice. And then you have someone to like, you can lean on each other too.
Yeah. I love it. When you are working with a client, say, who's kind of building their marketing strategy from scratch, do you have any guiding principles of like where they even begin, how to choose platforms, how to lean into, like, what's going to feel best or provide the highest ROI? Where would you start with somebody who's like, I don't really do anything in a structured way, but I need to get more visible?
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things that we all do is, in a sense, overcomplicate or try to do more.
Yep.
And I think a big thing that a lot of us don't start with is like, what are your business goals
Yes.
first? So before you like do any marketing, have you created those business goals for yourself for the year? Do you know what revenue number you want to hit? Do you know, like, is there a market that you want to enter? Like, I think starting with that, and especially the revenue number, I find helps a lot because if you understand like where leads are coming in, if you've been in business even for a year and you understand where your leads are coming in from,
Yep.
and you want to increase your revenue by 25% for the next year, then you can do the math around that. You can be like, okay, this is what year one looked like.
Yep.
Um, and this is, like what I can do for year two, what worked, what didn't. So I tend to start with if someone has been in business already for a year or so, like looking at the numbers first, um, and understanding like what we can do with what we're already doing.
Yeah.
If someone's just starting out, the biggest thing you can do is really understand who you're talking to and what you're offering and being so clear about that. Um, and letting people know, again, going back to that, letting people know that that's what you do. And I've had conversations with quite a few people about like having trouble with sales and everything. And just saying like, okay, do you have that, if you show up on Instagram the most, do you have that pinned post that says, this is who I am, this is what I do, this is who you should be to
Yep.
work with me. This is what if you're this person, then you're like a good match for me. And a lot of people don't, but then again, even like taking that further, even if they do have that, like something I shared with someone recently was like, share your service, share it to your story, and say, I have two openings for next month.
Yep.
A lot of us don't do that. And that goes back to telling everyone what exactly to do. Like, this is what I do. This is what I have available. And you need to click this link to book with me at this time. And this is what you will get. And making it just so clear because
Yep.
sometimes it doesn't like, first of all, if you're deciding channels, don't like we already said, don't go try to do 5 to 10 channels. Pick like pick
Yeah.
two and get really good at it and pick one or two services and get really clear on it. Um, but yeah, I think that's kind of what people miss doing sometimes. Like, oh, I posted that and no one booked me. But
Yeah.
sometimes if you're like, take it a step further and just say, no, book this specific thing for this date. Like sometimes
Yep.
people need that reminder. Um, so just and I think another thing too is we think posting something 1 to 3 times is enough, but it's
Yep.
never enough. You need to talk about it all the time.
All the time.
Yeah. My sister's an RMT and she was asking about some things. I'm like, every Friday, people are kind of like booking their next week, and sometimes
Yeah.
people are just, I'm like, every Friday, post on in your stories what you have available for the next week. And then on Sunday night, share it with the ones that are booked, crossed off. And,
Yep.
like just those where people can know what to expect and like when they're going to be reminded about things that you're doing and consistency.
Yeah.
Um, I'm just trying to think about, yeah, like simple things like try not to be too complicated in the beginning,
Mhm.
and just focus on those clear things. Being clear with people, I think, is the biggest thing to start.
And I think there's something that happened over the last 10 years that we made marketing so complicated. Like we made it something it's not supposed to be. And I think exactly what you're saying is like rewinding to what are the principles of marketing? It's having clear messaging, telling people around you, like literally knocking on doors in your community saying, this is what I do. I'm your go-to gal for this before you start shouting at the masses. Like having relevant messages. So I love what you just
Mhm.
said about your sister being an RMT. It's like on Friday or on Sunday when people are planning their next week, saying like, "Hey, your week is busy, but this is important. Here's the slot I have open." Like that's so
Mhm.
relevant and easy because I don't have to say, "Oh, do I want to book in a massage for next week?" It's like Wednesday at 8 a.m. is open. Do I have that time slot open? And that's like a very clear yes or no. So it's just like going back to those really simple principles that I think are easy to ignore. And we're like, how do I go viral? It's like, that's not
Yeah,
marketing. Like,
yeah,
that is a
yeah.
subsection of yes, if that's your life's goal, go for it. But that's not the easiest way to generate revenue inside of a business. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think we need to strip away.
yeah, I think you hear that a lot. Like I've actually said to someone, and like as a joke, but kind of serious, I was like, God, I hope I don't go viral.
Yeah,
Um, because that's not, and it depends what your business is, what your goals are and
sure.
everything. But um, yeah, like we really need to focus on like having that base level foundation strategy so that those things are easy. Like sharing
Yep.
that at the end of the day is easy. And I think, when people are looking to grow their business, they are always looking at like, oh, what service can I add? What product can I add? Or
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that. And a lot of the times in those conversations, they'll be like, hey, hold up for a second. And
Yeah.
let's look at what you already have again. Because if you have, I have a client that had like a 4 week and 8 week or ongoing sign up.
Yep.
And all we did was create a 1 week trial to make it easy for people to experience working with her. And she posted it and got 7 new people the next week.
Crazy.
So, yeah, I think before looking at all these different ideas and things that are going to maybe stress you out,
Yep.
and um, yeah, I think just look at what you already have. Is there a service that you offer one-on-one that you can somehow offer to like a small group? And, there's different ways to play with it there. But I mean, there's a there can always be room for adding new things for sure. But I think looking at those things and optimizing what you already have
Yeah.
first.
And I think that's so much of the value of hiring someone like yourself and like working one to one with a consultant because sometimes we're just so in our own businesses that we
Yeah.
simply cannot see that we're just creating chaos and we're
Mhm.
adding too much, not optimizing. So, so important. Um, I feel like we could go on forever, but tell the
Oh.
listeners, how can they work with you? What do you have coming up? Where are the best places for us to connect with you if we want to stay in touch and learn more?
Yeah, my website is murdochmarketing.ca. I am Murdoch.marketing or at It's Lauren Murdoch on Instagram. I do have a fun event coming up in July. It is we wanted to keep it lighthearted for the summer. Summer events sometimes aren't like the greatest timing, but I was like, you know what? Let's just like have some fun with it. So it's like cocktails on a terrace at dinner. We have two guest speakers coming in talking about like the inner self and the outer style and how we show up in the world. And it's just going to be a really fun event. So that's July 23rd in Burlington. And then, yeah, from a marketing perspective, I do marketing audits to understand like what you're doing and opportunities where we can do things differently to help you grow. And then from there, there's options to like VIP days to focus on specific things in your business or marketing strategy plans, and then ongoing services. So, yeah,
Amazing. We will link all of that in the show notes if people want to check it out. I'll link the event as well, and I'll
thank
see if
you.
I can make it as well because that sounds like a super fun. It's daytime or evening?
Evening. Does
Evening.
that make it
Okay.
good or bad for people?
I love it. Oh, yeah. So I'm gonna see if I can make it to that. It sounds
I'd
like
love
such
to have
a
you.
great, like that's what we need in the summers, like really
Yeah.
vibey connection activities and networking. So I love that you're creating that and putting yourself out there. So Lauren, this has been so much fun. Thank you for sharing all your perspectives on travel, family life, adventure, also taking that leap from corporate into the unknowns of entrepreneurship. Such a robust conversation. So thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. So much fun.